Welcome. On this page, we'll just do some practicing of identifying the sampling method described. And I'll just do a quick recap here of the sampling methods that we'll have to choose from. So first we have random. So this is where we have all members of a population, like all raffle tickets, and each one of those will have the same chance of being selected. So like picking a raffle ticket from a tumbler. So that's our random sampling. And our second method here, systematic. So this is when we pick a starting point and then establish an interval by which we select our subjects. So when we hear an interval referred to, we will know that that is called systematic sampling. And then cluster and stratified both involve grouping our population. So the difference, we'll start with cluster. So this first picture right at the bottom here, cluster, means that after we separate our population into groups, we're going to randomly pick some of those groups. There's 3 here in this case, and those are the clusters. So we'll randomly pick some clusters, and then we're going to select all subjects from those chosen clusters. So I would take all subjects from that cluster, all subjects from that cluster, etc. So my shorthand way to say this is cluster, we take all from just some of the groups. And then finally here we have groupings. These are called strata. And in this case, we're going to randomly pick some subjects from each of those strata or some from each group. So stratified sampling, my shorthand way of saying it is we'll take some subjects from each of our groups. All right, and then we'll dive in here. So number 1, a facility supervisor at a sports stadium. Oh, and I'm sorry, just before I start here, if you have found your way to this video, I strongly encourage you to read through these questions first on your own and see if you can start trying to identify them before you hear my explanation. All right, that being said, number 1, a facility supervisor at a sports stadium wants to rate the condition of the seats at the stadium. The supervisor separates the stadium into 20 sections. So there's our grouping, 20 sections. She then selects all seats in 4 randomly chosen sections. So this is our all from just some. So all seats from just some sections. So that is a cluster sample. All right, sorry about that, blinking all over you. Number 2, in a study on intercollegiate sports at a university, research identified 26 intercollegiate teams. 5 athletes were randomly selected from each team to be included in their research study. All right, so in this case, we're picking some athletes from each of these intercollegiate teams. So this is our stratified approach. So it ensures that no group is left out. So no team would be not represented in their study. So that one is stratified. Sorry, let's spell that correctly. One more try there. All right, stratified, lovely. Now, before I go on, I do want to mention that with both the cluster sampling method and the stratified sampling method, you're going to see randomness as part of the process. So with the cluster here, she did select all seats. The 4 sections chosen were chosen at random. So randomness is part of the process of cluster. That does not mean it's a random sample. So we just want to be careful there. So if we read a question and we're seeing grouping occurring, that's going to be your hint that we are most likely talking about cluster or stratified. And again, with the second example, they did mention random, but it's part of the stratified process. All right, number 3, every 8th person waiting in line to speak to an unemployment representative is interviewed by a researcher. So hopefully this is going to be the easy one. So there's our interval every 8th. So when we see some type of interval mentioned, that is our systematic sample. All right, number 4, an opinion survey on universal health care separates the population into groups by political party affiliation or lack thereof, then randomly selects members from each group. So again, no group would be left out. It's some from each. That is our stratified sample. And then number 5, scroll up here, number 5. On an assembly line, each employee is assigned a random number using computer software, and then that same software is used to periodically choose the number of one of the employees to be observed to ensure they are employing best practices. All right, so in this case, no mention of grouping and no interval. They just have all employees, and because the computer will be picking one at random, all employees have the same chance of being selected. So this is our classic random sample. So it's like names put in a hat or raffle tickets put in a tumbler. It's just now a computer is randomly picking the number. Right, number 6, a researcher separates the population of students at a conference by their college major and then selects a random sample of students from each college major to participate in a project. So some from each is again our stratified method. Number 7, a study in the wake of a natural disaster divides a geographic area into regions, and then they collect data from all hospitals in a random sample of regions to begin establishing the disaster's overall effect. All right, so all hospitals from just some of the regions. So that is our cluster method, all from some. Number 8, to determine her stress level, Rosie divides her day into 3 parts, morning, afternoon, and evening. She then measures her stress level at 2 randomly selected times during each part of the day. So the groups here, in this case, morning, afternoon, and evening, so grouping her day, and she's picking 2 times from each day. So sometimes from each of the parts of the day makes it stratified. And then number 9, an ecologist uses the line transect method by stretching a rope across a lake and collecting samples at every interval of 5 meters. All right, so there's our interval. So every 5 meters. So that is our systematic method. And then finally, we end with kind of a few examples thrown together. So number 10, Rotten Tomatoes allows viewers to rate a movie. Amazon asks customers to rate a product that they bought. A hotel asks a guest to fill out a survey on their stay. So in all cases, these are convenience samples. So they're not making an effort to get an equally likely representation of their customers. They're just simply asking people, hey, would you please participate in our survey or rating? So that is convenience in all cases. So convenience just means we do what is simple and easy. They have a tendency to not be representative of the population necessarily, so there can be bias involved because some people will respond and some won't, but they have their place in research. So convenience sample. All right, so hopefully that helps a little bit with identifying sampling techniques.